All right. Um, this will be about cube notations. The road ahead will involve some notations or algorithms that will be used to solve the cube. So, yeah, uh, the road ahead will have some memorization that is required, but it's only to solve the last layer. If you've just uh, practiced well enough to get to this point without any kind of memorization, then I think you should be able to do this part as well, because it just involves this. You just need to solve the top layer. So, okay, let's get started. Here are some of the common notations you'll find. There will be many notations that you could be finding through various sources, but here are the most common notations that will be required, and I think it's best you keep it to a minimum rather than go about memorizing lots and lots of notations, and that's something that's up to a person's choice. Personally, I prefer just solving the cube. So I try to keep the memorization aspect to a minimum. So let's get started. Here are some of the notations that will be used. Front, front inverted. Right, right inverted. Left, left inverted. Then you have back, back inverted. Then you have up, up inverted. And you have down and down inverted. So what is this? Okay, the normal notation would just have let's say it's front, and it'll just have an F denoting front, and F dash would be front inverted. And what is this inverted? Imagine there's a clock on the front side. Let's say the hands of the clock are here, and clockwise direction would be front, and anti-clockwise direction or counterclockwise direction would be front inverted. So assume that for each and every phase, and you would have got the notations figured out. For example, front would be rotating the front portion of the cube in the clockwise direction. And I also would like to caution you that it's very easy to mess up the cube and undone everything you've done up to this point if you do not have a hang over the notations. So I would advise you to be very careful, tread carefully, and get the hang of this part, the basic notation, so that you do not mess up the cube in the future stages. So front would be rotating the front aspect of the cube in the clockwise direction, and front inverted would be rotating this in the counterclockwise direction. So that's that. And also, please hold the cube in one orientation, that is, face it towards you. I mean, I've seen a lot of people they just keep changing the the way they hold the cube based on what they're turning currently. And if you're using notations, I think that can be a bad practice, because it's very easy to forget what you've done in the last stage. So if you do not have a clue of what you've done, it's very easy to mess up the cube further. So this is front and front inverted, and okay. Then what about right? Right and right inverted. Again, in the right portion of the cube, I want you to assume that the hands of the clock, and this will be the clockwise direction, and this will be the anti-clockwise direction. So holding the cube facing you, right would be turning the right portion of the cube in the clockwise direction. Hands of a clock here, remember. And right inverted would mean right dash, or right inverted would mean turning it in the counterclockwise direction. Similarly, what is left? We talked about front. Let's talk about back before going to left. And back would again be the same thing. Hold the cube facing you. You do not have to turn the cube all the way back, but assume the hands of the clock are here. And what would be the clockwise direction? The clockwise direction would be here. Am I right? Like moving it in this direction. So back would be here. Back and back inverted would be the other way around. So this is back inverted and this is back. And this is front. This is front inverted. This is back. This is back, sorry. And this is back inverted. So notice both front and like back are moving in opposite directions, but I think the best way to remember that would be to assume the hands of the clock are here for front and the hands of the clock are here for back, and all you need to do is just rotate the cube clockwise and anti-clockwise direction. Similarly, the hands of the clock for right would be here, the hands of the clock for left would be here. Let's get that pattern now. Right would be this, clockwise, right inverted counterclockwise, and left would be clockwise. What is clockwise in the left direction? This would be clockwise, and this is counterclockwise. Clockwise, left, and left inverted is counterclockwise. So we are done with front, we are done with back, we are done with right, we are done with left, and let's get done with up and down. The final two rotations. Up, assume the hands of a clock are here. So what would be moving the cube in the clockwise direction? This would be up. This is up, and this is up inverted. Up and up inverted. Up, up inverted. And similarly down. Assume the hands of a clock are this way. So down would be this, down and down inverted. Up, up inverted. Down, down inverted. Yeah, just remember the hands of a clock on the correct faces and you should be able to get the hang of this part correctly. If not, please rewatch the video and just understand this very thing, that you just need to attach the hands of a clock in whichever face the notation is pointing at, and you just need to move that in the clockwise direction. And for dash, F dash or F, for F dash you just need to move that in the counterclockwise direction or anti-clockwise direction. Now that you've mastered notations, let's go ahead and finally solve the top portion of the cube. Let's start with an L across.